I want to tell you a story today about chasing donkeys. And you don't know it yet, but you are part of that story. Today, as we begin this incredible series called Unable to Unimaginable, and it's going to happen starting today, right now, in this moment. So if you have your Bibles with you, and I hope you do because Scripture is one of our principles. You've already memorized most of it, which is why you don't need to bring it, and that's awesome. But if you do have it, pull it out. Pull it out on your Bible app. Pull it out on your phone, whatever means necessary. And if you don't have it, we'll have it on the screen. And this story is two parts. Part 1 today, part 2 next week. And it's from the book of 1 Samuel chapter 9 in the Old Testament. And today we are dealing with verses 1 through 20. And I'm going to start there, verse 1. This story begins with, there was a wealthy, influential man named Kish from the tribe of Benjamin. He was the son of Abiel, son of Zeror, son of Bacharath, son of Ephai, of the tribe of Benjamin. Y'all know all those people and where they came from? If you're like me, you're kind of like, why do we need all this information? All I need to know is there's a dude named Kish. And he has some money. And he was a man of power and influence. Why do I need to know all this information? Tribe of Benjamin, son of Raphael, son of Zeror, Bacharath, Ephai, in the tribe of Benjamin. Why do I need to know all this? I mean, it's like, how many of you introduce yourself this way? I don't introduce myself. When I introduce myself to people, I don't say, my name is Mark Carnes, from the land of the Waxhaws, of the tribe of Waxhaw, son of Russell Dixon Carnes, who was the son of Jesse J. Carnes, who was the son of, I don't even know, the son of, I can't even remember, and the son of, man, I don't know it. How many of you, anybody introduce yourself? We don't introduce ourselves that way. Why do we need all this information in this introduction? And the first thing you need to know as to why is going to help you through this entire message today. The reason why God puts that in there is because God is in the details. You need to write that down today. God is in the details. He is in the details of your life. He is in the details of every single moment of your life. Every minute, every second, every place you go, everything you do, everything that you think about, everything that you're doing that you probably shouldn't be doing, everything that you're saying, everything that you don't say, every thought in the shower, in the house, on the elevator, at the dinner table, when you're brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, when you're getting in and out of the shower, every single moment, God is with you, and He is in the details of your life. People, I'm about to preach today. Y'all might want to wake up. It's almost noon. Talk to me now. You with me? Are you with me, people? Are you with me? Are you there? It's okay. It's okay. If you're a guest, it's okay. It's He's alive, church, not He's dead. So it's all right. He's up. The man on the logo is up. He's not laying down. God is in the details of your life. He cares about every single moment, every single second of your life. You need to know nothing is random with Him. He is not someone that you just pick up and put down. He's not a compartment. He's not somebody that you pick up on Sundays and then put back down Monday to Saturday and live like you want to live and do what you want to do. He's not just somebody that you pick up just at Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, and funerals and weddings. He is in all of your life. He is in every single detail. And yes, He is even with you. When you are running around, traipsing around, doing things, He's even with you in saying, why are you putting that needle in your body? Why are you drinking that? Why are you looking at that? You ain't married. Why are you hopping in that bed with them? He's with you. Every single detail. Nothing is random. Even when you're eating chicken wings with hot sauce, dipping it in blue cheese, He is there going, whew. God is in the details. Say that with me. God is in the details. You need to know that before we say He's in every single moment. His son Saul, Kish had a son named Saul. And Saul was verse 2, the most handsome man in Israel, head and shoulders taller than anyone else in the land. And one day Kish's donkeys strayed away. So he went to his son Saul and he said, boy, you need to get one of them servants down there and y'all need to go find my donkeys. You need to go out, Saul, and look for my donkeys, because in this day and age, donkeys were valuable. They cost a lot of money. And we already know that Kish was a man of power and influence. He had a lot of money. So he's like, son, I need you to go get my donkeys because they done run off. But ladies, Saul was your man. Look at it. The Bible says he was the most handsome man in all the land. I'm not talking the most handsome man in the office or at the school or in church or at K&W. He was the most handsome man in the whole country. He was taller than anybody else in the whole land, meaning this man was not only handsome, he was chiseled. He had a good body. He was beautiful. He was a man's man. He had a great body. He was handsome, and he came from a family who had money, power, and influence. Ladies, this is your man. Saul was your man. He is the man every other man desired to be. And if that wasn't enough, he was about to become the king of the entire nation. He was not just a man. He was the man. He was the man. Saul was the most handsome, the tallest, had money, influence, the man about to become king. But he still got to go chase donkeys and shovel mule manure. See, because even the most extraordinary people have to deal with ordinary circumstances. Saul was the man. Saul was pretty. Saul had money. Saul had a body. But Saul still had to chase donkeys. Because see, even the most extraordinary people have to deal with ordinary things. Some of us, you're looking at all the pretty people that you watch on Facebook. They put forth their best effort on social media, on magazine covers, on the TV shows and the movies you watch. So many of us get so caught up. If I could just have so-and-so's face, if I could just have so-and-so's hair, if I could just have that kind of body, if I could just have that kind of money, if I could just have their job, their husband, their wife, their situation, if I could just be pretty, if I could just be, listen, you need to know, because God is in the details. He's in the details of your life, and your life has just as much value as anybody else's life. And you're just as extraordinary as anyone else. But even pretty people got to use toilet paper. They have to wipe the same as you do. The things that they blow onto tissues looks the same way as comes out of your nose. They have to deal with wrinkles and bulging waistlines. They just get to have theirs airbrushed out before people see it. You people that use filters, they were using airbrushes long before on these magazine covers. They don't really look like. They have to deal with every day. They have to brush their teeth, floss their teeth, deal with colds and viruses and ordinary things just like the rest of us ordinary folk do. You need to know that. Extraordinary people have to deal with ordinary things. Saul was the best looking man in all the land. He had money, power, and influence, but he still had to chase donkeys. David slayed Goliath and was about to become a king, but he still had to look after sheep. Paul was the greatest evangelist, arguably, that the world would ever know, but he still had to make tents on the side just to make ends meet. See, even extraordinary people have to do ordinary things. And what that tells me is that if extraordinary people have to deal with ordinary means, then certainly ordinary people can do extraordinary things. You know what I'm talking about? Come on now. That's right. And God can take your ordinary and make it extraordinary. He can move you from unable to unimaginable. Now listen. Saul had it all, but he still had to shovel mule manure. He was the best looking, had power, money, influence, best body, on his way to becoming king. But along the way, he still had to fool with crazy donkeys. See, because the lesson here is, if you don't first learn to be great in ordinary, you will never be great in extraordinary. Jesus said it himself in Luke 16. He who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. If you don't learn how to be great in the ordinary, you don't ever expect to be great in the extraordinary. When I was a full-time worship leader, I had the great privilege and honor of doing internships. A lot of people would come and they would serve in internships underneath me, and I would pour into them. And that commitment was for 2 years full time. And they would always come the first day, and it'd be like, all right, where's my microphone? Where's my instrument? Where's my platform? Where's my stage? Where's my song? Where's my spotlight? Where am I going to stand? And you know, every single time, on the very first day those interns would come, they wouldn't get no instrument. They wouldn't get no microphone. They'd get a grabber, a trash picker upper. And for 2 weeks solid, 2 weeks straight, when they came, 9 in the morning, they would do nothing but pick up trash for 2 hours. And then at 11 a.m., when they thought they were staying till 5 p.m., I say, all right, that's it. You can head on home. You get all the trash picked. Yes, I did. All right, see you tomorrow. Right here, back doing the same thing, picking up more trash. What? For 2 weeks. But I thought this was going to be about the extraordinary means of singing before people. Yeah, but see, at the end of the 2 weeks, I said, look, took that grabber and I said, until you first learn to worship God by picking up trash, you will never be able to learn to worship and lead people into His presence. Because you will never be great in extraordinary until you first learn to be great in ordinary. I do not like, sometimes during the week, I will grab this thing and go out into the parking lot and pick up the cigarette butts that people leave here on Sunday. I don't like it. I don't understand it. I'm telling you right now, I don't know why people throw trash on the ground. When you throw trash on the ground, it's like throwing trash in God's backyard. I don't understand it, let alone the church parking lot. But when I go out, I take this thing and I pick up trash, and I always make sure I sing the songs from the previous Sunday, and I worship God, and I say, God, this is my worship for you, because you are the same audience there as you are on Sunday morning, and it's all worship. Because see, if you can't be great in ordinary, you'll never be great in extraordinary. Many of the people who serve on our leadership team, they make the decisions that help the church function. But they are also the same people who are staying around long after most of you are gone, picking up your trash that you leave behind. They are the ones passing the offering plates that carry your sacrifice, your tithe, your offering. They are the ones who serve as gatekeepers. Ready and willing to do whatever, whenever, however, whether it's clogging a clogged toilet or unclogging it, plunging something down the toilet, or praying with people. See, you'll never be great and extraordinary until you first learn to be great in ordinary. And Saul was the finest man in all the land. But he still had to chase donkeys on the way to being king. So Saul took one of his servants, verse 4, and traveled, looking for these donkeys, through the hill country of Ephraim, the land of Shalishah, the Shalim area, and the entire land of Benjamin. But they couldn't find the donkeys anywhere. Again, I don't need to know everywhere you went. I just need to know, do you have my donkeys yet? Why do we need to know about the land of Ephraim, Shalishah, Shalim, and Benjamin, and all these? I don't need to know all this stuff. Why do I need to know all this? I just need to know, where are my donkeys? Do you have them? But see, God is in the details. He cares about where you're going. He cares about when you're coming back. He cares about who you're going with in all the places you go. Every single place. Walmart, Food Lion, your job, church, tennis court, basketball court, the game, where he is in the details of every single place you go, and it matters to him. My wife is this way. I don't understand it. When we run out of milk, it'd be like, you want to go get milk, or if I want to go get milk? When she says, well, I'll go get the milk, this is the story I'll get back. Well, did you go get the milk? Well, I went out in the car, and then I cut the car on, and the check engine light came on. Then I had to get that thing out and figure out what was going on, and I need to call Todd Barber. If you call Todd Barber, you need to get your oil changed. What about these tires? What are we going to do about a new car? Then I finally got in the car and got out of the driveway. Then I noticed there was this little thing y'all need to pick up over here on the driveway. Then we went down the road, and the road was halfway closed out, and then we made it to Food Line. I saw Judy Boger in the Food Line. She told me about something that's going on down there at Mount Pleasant. Did you know this was going on? Then I started reading the labels, and I figured out almond milk was more nutritious than dairy milk. So I got almond milk and brought. All I need to know is, am I going to have milk from my cereal? That's all I need to know. Some of you men, you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to know all that. Just tell me it's milk in the refrigerator. Hey, that's right. We don't need to know all this, but we do. Because God is in the details. He cares about where you're going. Where you coming? Who you going with? You think he's not, but he is. He's in the car with you. He's every single step you take, every single moment, every breath. He is in the details. Finally, they enter the region of Zuph, and Saul said to his servant, man, we got to go home. We've been looking for these donkeys a long time. And by now, my father will be more worried about us. He'll be more worried about me than the donkeys. I love that verse. Because, see, Saul knows that his daddy, even though his daddy has given him a task, even though his daddy has given him a job, and his daddy wants him to complete the job, but Saul knows at the end of the day, he is way more important than any task his daddy gives him. See, Saul knows I don't have to perform tasks or do jobs and duties to prove myself to my daddy, because my daddy loves me just for who I am. So whether I fail or succeed, whether I get it right or wrong, what matters most to my daddy is me. See, God is in, you know why God's in the details of your life? Because he's first and foremost into you. God is in the details of your life because he's into you. He loves you. You matter to him. And many of us think we have this task-oriented God. I got to do all this stuff. And if I do enough, then God will love me. That's not the way it works with God. God loves you. The Bible says that while you were still yet a sinner, on your worst moment, on your worst day, God still loved you. There is nothing that you can do right now that will make him love you any more or any less than he already does and than he has from the beginning of time. You understand this? God is in the details because he is into you. Yes, he gives us tasks. Yes, he gives us directives. Yes, he gives us commands. But he is more into you than he is into the directive because he loves you. And we followed the directive because he loves us. See, you see that? I love this part. Saul says, I got to go home because my daddy will be worried. See, it matters. Saul knows his daddy loves him, but Saul loves his daddy. Saul could have going on, doing whatever, however long. But he says, my daddy loves me. He cares for me. So therefore, because he loves me, I'm going home. I'm not going to go looking for his love in a needle, in a pipe, in anything I smoke, drink, anybody I sleep with, anything I look with, anything I consume or take up, because my daddy loves me, and that's enough. And many of you have been searching for a long time for love in everywhere but the right place. You don't have to jump in bed with nobody else. You don't have to fill your veins with something foreign because your daddy loves you. And you don't have to do nothing to prove that to him. He loves you. He created you. He loves you. Many of us are not in life groups. We're not involved in anything because we think we got to get it straight before he loves. No, he loves you just as you are. And some of us parents, listen closely. You need to make sure your kids know. Look, AAU, tournaments, basketball games, homework, schoolwork, all this stuff has its place and has value. Giving your kids directives, but please, tell them that your love for them does not change. It is not linked to what they do or they don't do. Whether they win, whether they lose, whether they make an A or an F, my love for you does not change. I tell my boys, I love you simply because you are my son. I love it when you bring home A's, but if you bring home F's, I love you the same. Your daddy loves you just the way you are. And because he loves you, he calls you home. Some of you today need to go home. Stop running with the world. Your daddy loves you. Stop swimming in donkey manure and get home. But just as surely as Saul said that, the servant said to him, No, wait, I just thought of something. We're looking for these donkeys. Look, there's a man over here, a man of God. He lives here, right here in this town. And he is held in high honor by all the people because everything he says comes true. Let's go find him. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us which way to go. Saul said, but we don't have anything to offer him. I ain't got no money. I got no food. Even our food is gone. We don't have a thing to give him. Well, let's see, the servant said, I have one small silver piece. We can at least offer it to the man of God and see what happens. Because in those days, if people wanted a message from God, they would say, let's go and ask the seer. For prophets used to be called seers. All right, Saul agreed. Let's try. Let's do it. So they started into the town where the man of God lived. That man of God would be the prophet Samuel, whom Saul is on a head-on collision course with. He thinks he's chasing donkeys, but he's actually being led to Samuel, who's going to coronate him to be the next king of Israel. See what God can do in the midst of your ordinary circumstances. You thought you were chasing donkeys, but God has so much more. But Saul has this idea about the prophet. He says maybe it just like today, people have this wrong idea about preachers. See, he thought Samuel the prophet was a soothsayer, some kind of fortune teller. And like many of the people of the day, Now back then, people who were prophets, when they made a prophecy and they said God says it, they were 100%. All right? And if they weren't, boom, dead on the spot. It's a little different today. Be careful who you're listening to. Be careful the people who say, thus saith the Lord, but it don't line up with this. I got 3 letters for you. R-U-N. Run. But back in this day, they were 100%. So he said, this, whatever he says comes true. Maybe he can help us find these donkeys, and we'll be able to pay. We give him enough money, he'll tell us where the donkeys are. But anybody who would have known anything about Old Testament law and the sacred scriptures would have known that God already told the prophets, you don't take money for services in ministry for God's people. See, I already set it up. Here's the way it works. Everybody brings their money to the temple treasury and worship. Just like today, you bring your tithes, you bring your offerings. And the prophets and the priests will take a portion of that so that they can live just and make a living just like the rest of y'all do. That's how it works. That's how it still works. But prophets would have never said, okay, hey, will you pray with me? Yes, absolutely. That prayer will cost you $20. You want to find the right husband? That'll cost you $50. And if you want to find your dog, that'll be $80. That's not how it works. But Saul thought, we give him enough money, he's going to tell us where these donkeys are. He had it all wrong. He didn't know. He was clueless on this Christian thing, this religion thing. He didn't have all the answers. But he knew somebody who did. And that's what you need to know today. You don't have to have all the answers as long as you know the one who does. His name is Jesus. Do you know him? I said, do you know him? Do you know him? You don't have to have it all figured out as long as you know where to go to the one who does have it figured out by means of the cross and the resurrection to Jesus the Christ. Many of you have never surrendered your life to Jesus because you think you've got to get your business straight before he'll accept you. That's not what he said. He said, come to me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I'm going to give you rest. You come to me just like you are. It's like the old saying goes. You don't clean a fish before you catch it. You got to catch it first. God will get you cleaned up. You don't have to have all the answers. Many of you are not in life groups. You're not involved in serving because you think you got to get your act together. Just come as you are. God will take care of the rest. Jesus is enough. And Saul didn't have all the answers. He didn't know all the right ways, and he wasn't proper, but he knew somebody who did. And you don't have to have all the answers as long as you know the one who does. Do you know him? He doesn't know it, but he is on a head-on collision course with this very man. God has already set it up through ordinary circumstances, like running after wild mules. And here's another ordinary circumstance that God's about to use. Verse 11. As they were climbing the hill to the town, they met some young women coming out to draw water. So Saul and his servant asked, is the seer here today? Yes, they replied. Stay right on this road. You go right up this way. He is at the town gates. Which, by the way, side point, men, it's okay to ask for direction. Kings did it. You can do it too. He has just arrived to take part in a public sacrifice up at the place of worship. Hurry and catch him before he goes up there to eat. The guests won't begin eating until he arrives to bless the food. Just as they were looking for the man and climbing the hill on the way to trying to find them donkeys, they come across some young women who were drawing water. Women who do that same thing day after day after day after day. Every day they go to this well. Every day they draw water just so their families can have water to drink and food and water to cook with so that they can eat. This is what they do. This is their job. Every single day, they go out to that well, they get water. But unbeknownst to them, on this day, they were about to come into direct contact with a future king of Israel, who, by the way, had no idea he was going to be king. He's just looking for donkeys. You understand what I'm saying? See what God can do through your unordinary circumstances. When those girls woke up that day, they had no idea that in the ordinary events of their ordinary, mundane, everyday existence, God was about to use them as the process and tool whereby which He would coronate the next king of His people who would lead them and deliver them. Who, by the way, didn't know he was about to be king. He's just looking for donkeys. We don't even get these girls' names. We don't ever hear about them before this instance, and we don't ever hear about them after. Many of you are in situations where you think, nobody knows my name. Nobody knows my situation. I get up every day. I go to work. I do the same thing. I come home. I lay down. Do the same thing day after day after day after day after day. And nobody ever sees what I'm doing. But God does, because God's in the details. And God can use your every day after day after day after day to do something extraordinary in your life and take you from unable to unimaginable. Can you imagine? I mean, those girls, when they see Saul, Samuel brings them up. This is the king. And those girls go, wait a minute, what? That's the dude that we saw at the well who was looking for donkeys. That's the king? You are part of the story. It doesn't matter if you hammer nails day after day, sell shingles or siding. God can use your mundane to bring about miracles. Nobody in this story, Saul when he's looking for donkeys and girls when they're drawing water, had any idea that God was doing the amazing and using them, everyone, in the ordinary circumstances to do it. See, because even in extraordinary, people still got to draw water. And donkeys still need to be found. Your ordinary moments matter. Stay faithful. God is using you. Even when you think you are unseen and unnamed, God is using you. So they entered the town, and as they passed through the gates, here it is, Samuel was coming out toward them to go up to the place of worship. Look at that phrase. Samuel was already coming out toward them. The dude they're looking for is already heading toward. They are right there in a head-on collision. Saul just thinks he's looking for donkeys. He's trying to find the man who can lead him to the donkeys. But coming right toward him is the same man he's looking for that he doesn't even know, who's about to say, you're going to be the next king. Can you say what? See what God can do in your ordinary? And every one of us has a coming out toward them. See, because of coming out toward them, that means now you don't have to hate going to Walmart, because somebody could be coming out toward you on your way to Walmart. When you go to Food Lion, you never know who's coming out toward you. When you go into Bojangles to eat fried chicken, the cashier that's waiting on you, you never know who's coming out toward you. Whether it's that employee you don't like, or that person who's hard to deal with, or your waiter or waitress today when you go out to eat in just a few minutes, you never know who's coming out toward you. I wonder how many divine appointments we miss in life because we just think, oh, this is just the Monday. This is just what I do. Every single person you come across is a coming out toward you. And you have, because God is in the details, every person you cross paths with, God has put them there. What are you missing? No trip to Walmart will ever be the same. keep your eyes open. Every day I pray, Lord, lead me to the people I need to be led to. And lead the people who need to be led to me. That means every person sitting in this room, if God answers prayer, is not here by accident. See? And here's, just winding this down, here's where it all comes to conclusion. Now the Lord, even though Samuel, he's coming out toward him. Now the Lord had already told Samuel the previous day, like yesterday. He said, about this time tomorrow, you'll want to underline that phrase. About this time tomorrow, I'm going to send you a man from the land of Benjamin. Anoint him to be the leader of my people Israel. He will rescue them from the Philistines. For I have looked down on my people in mercy and have heard their cry. When Samuel saw Saul, the Lord said, that's the man I was telling you about yesterday. He's going to rule my people. See, Saul just thought he was chasing donkeys. Two girls just thought they were drawing water. And Samuel just thought he was going to church, going to work to do what he did every day. But in the middle of that, you got this whole, but about this time tomorrow. And God put them all on a collision course for a divine moment that none of them knew about because they were just doing what they do every single day. Everybody in this room has about this time tomorrow. God told Samuel, about this time tomorrow. He didn't tell him. Saul just thought he was looking for donkeys. Little did he know, those donkeys were the thing that were going to lead him to become the king of the nation. Every one of you has about this time tomorrow. You've been waiting for a long time. You've been laboring in the mundane. You've been coming in and going out, getting up, going to work, waiting on that dream, waiting on that sale, waiting on that thing to come through. But I'm telling you now, you've all got about this time tomorrow. Because God is orchestrating the events of your life for a collision course with something divine. And it's happening every day, every moment, because God is in the details. We've all got about this time tomorrow. Many of you have been mourning. You've been in a season of mourning. You've lost people. Do you know Psalm 30 verse 5 says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. We've all got joy coming. We've all got a tomorrow coming. And you need to hang on. You need to persevere. You need to keep going because God is telling you about this time tomorrow, you're going to see it. Many of us never see it. Because we give up before we get to it. And even if you're getting to it means you got to cross over from here to heaven, you'll see it in heaven. Because every single part of it matters. Hang on. If your marriage is failing, fight. Because about this time tomorrow. If you're in an addiction, fight. Because about this time tomorrow. If you're looking for a better job, keep on keeping on. Because about this time tomorrow. If you're teaching people, if you're messing with kids and students and teaching them, trying to bring them on, and they're not learning anything, keep on teaching because by this time tomorrow, breakthrough is coming. God is working in the ordinary events of your life to bring it to pass about this time tomorrow. So let's wrap this up. Just then, Saul approached Samuel at the gateway, and he asked him, can you please tell me where the seer's house is? And Samuel replied, I'm the seer. Saul comes and says, look, I'm looking for this dude. Can you tell me where he is? And Samuel says, I'm him. I'm standing in front of you. Everything Saul was looking for was right in front of him, and he didn't even know it. Listen now. Sometimes the things that you are looking for most, sometimes that thing that you've been traveling, going to and fro, trying drug after drug, man or woman after woman, leaving your marriage, coming back to your marriage, doing the thing, all the, whatever dream, whatever pursuit, all the places you've gone. Sometimes that thing you've looked so hard for has been right in front of you all along. Marriages get destroyed this way. I'm chasing after this love I never knew I had, but it was with me the whole time. I chased after this joy this drug would give me, but I had joy all along. I never knew it. Sometimes the thing you are looking for the most has been right in front of your eyes the whole time. In the ordinary, mundane, chasing donkeys, drawing water, going up to the place of worship existence that you live in. Stay faithful. Because you will never be great in extraordinary until you learn to be great in ordinary. And it's there that God takes your unable to unimaginable. But I love this last verse. Samuel said, go up to the place of worship ahead of me. We will eat there together. And in the morning, I'm going to tell you what you want to know. Oh, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to send you away. You ain't going to believe what I'm going to tell you, Saul. You ain't going to believe what God has in store. You ain't going to believe what God has done. I know you thought you were chasing donkeys, but you ain't going to believe what's about to happen next. You go. I'm telling you. But then I love this last verse. If you don't think God's in the details, listen to this. He says, I'm about to tell you something you ain't going to believe. You're going to become the king. Oh, and about those donkeys you've been looking for, I love it. Don't worry about those donkeys that were lost 3 days ago. For they have been found. And I'm here to tell you that you and your family are the focus of all of Israel's hopes. I'm going to tell you news that's going to blow you away. You ain't going to believe it. You're about to become the king. Oh, but by the way, these donkeys you've been looking for, animal lovers, you're going to love God for this because he takes care of the animals. These donkeys you've been looking for, they're going to be all right. See, God is in the details. This story didn't really have anything to do with the donkeys. It was all about Samuel and Saul colliding together so that Samuel could coronate Saul to be the king. Saul thought he was chasing donkeys, but it's really a story about how Saul came to be king. But he couldn't come to be king without the donkeys. And if you come to me and say, Mark, I'm going to tell you, I know you've been looking for donkeys. I know you've been chasing them donkeys, but let me tell you about how you're going to become the king. I'm going to say, and about the donkeys, I'm going to say, forget the donkeys. Just tell me where the crown is. Tell me about the king. That's what I want to know about. I don't care about the donkeys anymore. It was never about the donkeys, but without the donkeys, you don't get here. See, without the ordinary, you don't get to extraordinary. But God still took care of the donkeys. Because God's in the details of your life. Even the parts you don't think He is. And I know some of you are sitting there today and you're saying, but you don't know my life. You don't know my situation. You don't know my circumstances. You don't know who I deal with. You don't know what I've been dealing with. You don't know how long I've been dealing with it. You don't know my addiction. You don't know my change. You don't know how mean these people are. You don't know how mean my family is. You don't know. For every person in this room who thinks you can't get up, get over, and get your breakthrough, I want to go King James on you on this last verse. You listen and you listen close. Here's God's word for you today. For those of you who think you can't get through it. You don't know what I'm dealing with. You don't know who I'm dealing with. And here it is. God says to you, 1 Samuel 9:20, King James style. And as for thine asses, set not thy mind on them. I'm going to take care of that. Listen, all thine asses in your life, God's going to take care of them. And you know what he's going to do with thine asses? And on whom is all the desire of Israel? Is it not on thee? He will turn thine asses into thy greatest desires. Not only will he do that, but he will use thine asses to give you your greatest desires. See, many of us are ready to get rid of the donkeys in our life. I'm tired of this donkey. When you don't realize it was that donkey that was leading you all along to your greatest moment. It was never about the donkey, but you need the donkey because God's going to use the donkey to give you your greatest desire. Because that's what he does. Because he's in the details. And he can do that. Let me give you this video and close with this. This is a video. This is Jaden 2 weeks ago in a game, Mount Pleasant High School varsity basketball against Anson County. It was the dream of all dreams. It's the moment of all moments. They were down by 2, and he hits a last-second 3 to win the game. It's just like every kid dreams up in the driveway. 3, 2, 1, Jaden, shoot the shot, swish, it goes in. They win the game. Look at this video. Check this out. This actually happened. Here it is. There he is in the corner. Shoot, swish, yeah, baby! Look at it again. Show it again. Look at it, y'all. Look at it now. There he is. Corner, shot up. Boom! Look at it. Look, show it in slow motion. Look, y'all. Show it in slow. Here it is. Kick it out. Shot goes up. Look at everybody. Hang in the air. Freeze. Boom! Game winner. Game over. Extraordinary moment. Come on, right? I mean, come on now. But at the end of the game, he says, Dad, were you surprised when I hit that shot? I said, no. I'm actually surprised when you don't hit them. Because here's the thing you don't know. Here's the thing the video doesn't show. Show me that other picture. That right there is this picture right here. When he was 3 years old, I put a basketball in his hand in our driveway. And for 13 years, he's been shooting that shot. The reason he hit that shot in the extraordinary moment is because he already hit that shot 1,000 times in the ordinary moments in our driveway when nobody else was watching. 3, 2, 1, every time. At the end of every play, at the end of every training, and I'm the one throwing him the pass. 3, 2, 1. And guess what? He missed a lot of them. And he's probably going to miss a few of those. But the reason that extraordinary moment came is because he had to go through thousands of ordinary moments just like that when nobody else was watching, because that's what God does. Stay faithful in your ordinary moments. They matter. And if you were to ask me, well, Mark, to get that one moment 2 weeks ago, you have to give away all of these. I say, no way. I'll take the 1,000 in the driveway. Any day, times 3. God can take your ordinary and turn it into extraordinary. He can take your unable and make it imaginable.